fasting for God has a purpose, and it's for the purpose of consecration. Now, listen to me when I tell you, it's only fasting when consecration is its basis. Otherwise, you're on a diet. Or otherwise, you're just getting ready for a procedure. But fasting is when consecration is the goal. Fasting is when purity is the goal. Fasting is when sanctification is the goal. Fasting is when dedicating my life to God is the goal. Well, yeah, fasting will help you lose weight. Fasting is good for you physically. It cleanses the body. It gives your body time to rejuvenate. Some of us have just beat our bodies up with bacon and sausage and pork chops and eggs and fried turkey, fried tomatoes, fried grits, fried pickles. We just fried ourselves to death. And it would do us well to just take a moment, 40 days together where we all come together and we come on Wednesday nights as a support system. Because when you make a step to make a drastic commitment to God, you need a support system. You need somebody to encourage you along the way. You need somebody to embrace you and tell you that it's going to be all right, that you can make it, and to remind you to pray, to remind you to read scriptures. Fasting, it cleanses, it corrects the body. Nature tells us to fast. An animal will get sick and fast in order to get well. And so it's like prayer or anything else. We must practice. The more you practice consecration, the more consecrated you can become. You don't have to look at spiritual people and wish that you were spiritual. You don't have to look at spirit-filled people and wonder what happened that they got that and you don't have, that you can have everything that God has promised you, but you got to do what God has called us to do in order to get it. And God is calling us in this season to come together as a family and saying to us as a family, the family that prays together, the family that consecrates itself together. God is really saying it's high time now. You're used to them and they are used to you. Now it's time for everybody who's used to each other to come together and get used to doing something together that you're not used to doing. And that's consecrating yourselves together. That's walking in the Spirit together. That's loving God together. That's loving one another together. And so it's like prayer. You must practice. The Jews fasted from sundown to sundown. And some of us, it's going to be hard to fast from sundown to sunrise, but we'll practice. I mean, practice being holy. Practice walking with God. Practice loving God. Practice forgiving people who misuse you. Practice loving your enemies. Practice blessing them that hurt you. Practice. I'm going to preach by myself if I have to. I got something to say. I just need, maybe I got to practice too. Now let me tell you this right quick. There's a Daniel fast, and that's called a fast where there are no sugars and no fats. And I want to tell you, it's not as easy said as done. It's in the book of Daniel. Fast always with lots of water. Remember in the text when Jesus came out of the wilderness, it says, after 40 days he hungered. Notice it does not say he was thirsty. He was hungry because Jesus hungered after 40 days and not thirst. Water cleanses the body. But not only does water cleanse the body, water prolongs the fast. Build yourselves up. We're not in a contest. We're on a consecration journey for 40 days. Can you just see this journey? None of us talking about each other for 40 days. None of us scandalizing each other for 40 days. None of us being angry with each other for 40 days. None of us mistrusting one another for 40 days. All of us praying. If you can't feel what God is up to with us, all of us praying together for 40 days. All of us speaking to one another. Can't we just speak for 40 days? Can we shake each other's hands genuinely for 40 days? If we shake each other's hand for 40 days, God will let us shake hands continually. If we embrace each other for 40 days, God will let us embrace each other continually. If we stop hurting each other with our mouths, God will let us do that continually. So build yourself. The journey begins with one step. Start with fasting. If you have health problems, you might want to check to see. My practitioner says, check it out with your doctor. Look what he says in the text. Present your bodies. Talk to me. Present your bodies. Somebody else talk. Present your bodies. A living sacrifice. How so? Holy, acceptable unto God. Well, listen carefully. This is voluntary, means present. This act is personal, which means your bodies. This act is sacrificial, which means a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God. We won't have room in this place when Holy Week comes if we present ourselves now unto God. In the Old Testament, Jewish believers presented